I'm not paying my taxes before I have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I will do it when I have to, but
I'm not paying anything until I have to.
Yeah, I'll pay the bill when it's due.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's cool.
When the bill says it's due on this date, that means due on this date.
Yeah,
right.
I'll pay it. So yeah, I get it. I am totally okay with that.
Yes, but he did drop some breadcrumbs.
Yes.
Right. Maybe some hints, whether he meant to or not. There were some hints that he dropped. This was him talking about just the practice policy that they have in place.
Yeah, we have a pretty consistent policy that if you don't practice Tuesday or Wednesday, you're not going to play. I don't care who you are, that if you don't get out there and practice on Tuesday and Wednesdays especially, it's really tough to just practice on Thursday. Practice on Thursday is important here, but it's a little bit of a shorter day, and the bulk of your game plan is in on Tuesday and Wednesday. So whether you're an offensive player, defensive player, special teams player, we need to be able to see you do something on Tuesday and Wednesday.
So if you don't practice Tuesday and Wednesday, probably not going to play. And we didn't get confirmation if LaNorris Sellers did or did not practice.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you could reasonably assume that he did not, because it was less than 72 hours after a diagnosed concussion.
Yeah, and this is the reason why teams have this in place, this policy, is to protect themselves, because coaches will probably act in their own, not in their own interest. You'll try and get the guy to play. You'll sit him out another day. You'll try and rest him. You'll give yourself as much time as possible. And you put this policy in place to say, all right, this is the policy. This is what it is. This is across the board for everybody, so that we don't get into this guy can do this guys can do that. That being said, if you don't practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, you're not playing. However, at the end of that statement, Shane said you have to be able to do something.
So basically, LaNorris went and got a bottle of water. He did something.
And that's where you can play within the gray area of the policy.
You could open the door a little bit for a different interpretation.
So you can read that for all you will. But that policy is, and Coach Holtz had something very similar to it. It was like, if you don't practice, his was a little bit more concrete. Like, if you don't practice in pads by Wednesday, you're not playing. And it's just for preparation's sake, so that the team can move on, for the player's sake, so you can probably get to rehab and you don't hurt. It's a lot of different reasons why you would have that in place.
Well, on multiple things too. One, if a player is clearly not ready to practice by then, it's not likely that they will be ready to be able to go out and give everything they have on game day, right? Like, if I'm dealing with just let's say a hamstring injury, and I'm practicing Tuesday, Wednesday, but I can't go full bore, I think then that tells coaches that I'm not going to be completely ready magically by Saturday.
Right. And it's the idea of, like, what can you do? Can you get out here and do, like, your individual drills? Go through your stretching, go through your individual drills, maybe run through some things like that. And then as the week progresses, can you go from individual drills to position drills? Maybe you get in team drills. You're not running plays, or you're not going against a scout team or something like that. But what's the progression look like for you throughout the week? But again, that's 4 injuries that we can see and feel.
Yes.
This one is obviously more tricky because there's so many different variables with your brain. That makes it a lot harder to quantify it.
Which is pretty valuable. I will admit to everyone right now, I did fail the only anatomy class I ever took. First semester of college, was not really into the whole studying thing, and that's a class you kind of have to study for, right? My track record on anatomy is not good. I will never be accused of being a doctor. But I think you only have one brain.
Correct.
And as far as I understand, it's pretty valuable to what you do and how your whole body operates.
Yeah, and your brain is basically like, I compare it to the ocean. Like, for as much as we know, we don't know anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the ocean, we know a lot about it, but man, we don't know any. We discover new things every single day about the ocean. Like, oh, this lives in there too? Who would have known?
This thing looks terrifying.
Yeah. And so I think your brain is the same way. It's like, we know a lot. Meta and science has really progressed where we are able to handle these types of injuries a lot better than we did in the past, obviously. but there's still so much that's just left unexplored about it.
I know there's certain places in my brain that I don't think I would
Yeah.
go with a gun.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I don't think I
Yeah,
want to
and there's
go
other
into those
places like,
steps.
just don't walk down that
Yeah.
path. Yeah.
Don't go there. It's dark for a reason.
Right.
But that would lead me to believe, with what Shane said, I'm not expecting Lenoris to play. And that's kind of the operation that I will, act under. The assumption I'm going to operate under is that it's Luke Doty time in Como. I have a pretty firm feeling. He went on to confirm that if Lenoris does not play, Luke Doty will be the one suiting up to be the starting quarterback for that game against Missouri. I would lean that, and a point spread tells me, too, that I think Vegas might know a little something. That, and they're getting a lot of action on Missouri to cover, because it started off at 3.5. It is now at 13.5.
Whoa.
That's a pretty big jump.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
And usually those type of line changes are a result of either somebody knowing something or three things. Somebody knowing something about a player's availability, somebody knowing something about somebody within the game participating to play to said spread. That is why there are 12 college basketball teams under investigation last season at the low D1 level. Or the public is just so heavily favoring one team that they have to adjust
They
and
gotta
get
move the
even
money.
money. But sometimes that does not reach 10 points. I have a feeling, just by using all of my context clues around me, that Luke Doty is going to be playing. I'm not reporting this, so do
Make
not
sure-
take
yeah,
this. Yes.
Disclaimer. It's
Disclaimer.
not a report.
This is not a report.
That's not a I haven't heard. That's not from unsources.
No.
That's not from people in the building.
Nope.
None of those.
This is me doing the Brian Windhorst thing, right? The two fingers out, and I'm piecing stuff together, right? I Elijah Campbell do not expect to see Lenoris Sellers on Saturday, and I feel safely on that because of it. If he plays, great. Also, if he plays, I just hope it's because he is 1,000% good to go, and every doctor he talked to said, "Oh, you're good."
Yeah, because this is a very difficult question to answer, because even if he can play, what does that look like for him health-wise? What does that look like for him long-term health-wise? That's one set of questions. Another set of questions is, what does it look like for the team long-term? Is it possibly that you can let him fully recover, get his feet underneath him, get everything back together, so in the interest of the rest of the season that you have him? It's a difficult proposition, admittedly, obviously. I fully trust that Shane will do the right thing.
Yes.
I fully trust that the doctors will handle this with utmost care and responsibility for all parties involved. But it is a little bit of a quandary for everybody to take care of the situation.
And going to a theme, we talked about the practice policy in terms of whether or not you practice dictating if you play or not. The theme of yesterday's presser seemed to have been practice matters, because it wasn't just about Lenoris, where he talked about practicing. Coach Beamer was asked about Mazeo Bennett and Jared Brown, and he said this applies to both players. When asked about why Luke Doty is going to be the starting quarterback if Lenoris doesn't play, this is something he also referred to. He said it a few times in the presser that practice matters. This is cut 18, Jen, him talking about why practice matters.
Oh, great question. Executing the call, offense, defense, special teams, whatever, play we have called. We put a lot of time as coaches into planning practice and what we want to get done, the plays we want to run, the defenses we want to call, the kickoff returns and punt blocks we work on. So it's very detailed how we do things. So I want to see people execute what we're asking them to do. I want to see the strain and the finish and just the technique and the mentality that you want to play with, where it be pad level, footwork, hand placement, all the fundamental details, and then just the energy and the physicality that you want to play with. I mean, I'm a believer, like, you don't practice soft and then think you're going to go play physical on Saturday night. You need to see that, and we get after it in practice. We do, and I want our practices to be harder than the games in a lot of ways with how we do things, and I feel like we create that environment, and I just want to see us each day like I said, execute what we're asking our guys to do, but then doing it with the right mentality that carries over into Saturday when you play.
So there you have it. You can't play soft in practice, then expect to play hard in games.
This is the second mention of this because earlier the mention of the idea of practice, he mentioned it very specifically with Michael Smith, the tight end, right? He mentioned it very specifically. He said we practice doing things a certain way around here. Practice matters. That's a phrase he keeps sort of coming back to, and that was the reason why we didn't see Michael Smith start game one against Virginia Tech. His snaps were a little bit limited, even though by all reports and accounts, he is the most talented tight end in the room. That was one thing. Now you're starting to hear that conversation again. And I mean, it's something that all coaches preach, but it is interesting that we're hearing this conversation sort of circling back again.
Does it, when it comes to the quarterback position, and he said getting play calls in incorrect, do you think that is maybe an allusion to like the quarterback position specifically? That's a pretty important part of the quarterback position, is making sure play calls are in and everybody's on the same page.
It could very well be because there's a situation where Aaron Nolan and Cutter Woods may be more talented than Luke Doty, but they can't get the calls in, or they can't run the offense, or they can't do things that make an offense go without having a coach being there to hold their hands. I don't know. This is all speculation. I have no idea, but there has to be some reasons why Luke has risen and stayed at, and presumably if Lenoris doesn't play, will start because we don't think it's talent. So there are other intangible reasons, and maybe Shane is pointing to some of those reasons.
Something that, that's what it kind of came across to me, is that right now he is the most competent to run the offense and is the most prepared to run the offense.
And there's way more to being a quarterback than can you run and can you throw. Quarterback is a big brain position, and you have to be able to do a lot under a tremendous amount of pressure. And I don't know, maybe they haven't been able to do that. Again, this is all speculation. I have no reports. I'm not reporting from sources I haven't heard. I'm just going by what he's saying.
Yeah, and taking the clues. If he says practice matters, and those are the things that he values in the practice, then that tells you that's what he's valuing in some of the players that are on the field on Saturdays. We might not see Lenoris on Saturday, but has his usage changed? Shane kind of pushed back on the notion that it has changed. We'll look at some of the numbers and discuss whether or not our eyes are deceiving us. That's next here in the early game.
Forest Drive at I-77, a report of an accident there. Also in Lexington County, North Lake Drive at East Main Street. And the forecast just looking really nice and warm for the next several days. 86 today, 88 tomorrow, 90 on Friday. We stay in the mid to upper 80s for the weekend as well. Still no real chances of rain. 61 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Shane Beamer was asked yesterday about LaNorris Sellers' usage. Well, specifically asked about how he's performing in the pocket and then the whole balancing of the passing and running thing. And Shane Beamer had a pretty interesting answer to that one. This will be cut one on how he answered LaNorris Sellers perceivably running less.
As far as the pocket, I think he's done well. I think the South Carolina State game, I think I mentioned it last week, where there's a third down that we throw to Mike Smith, and he does a great job stepping up in the pocket and making throws. The protection was good the other night. Again, we had 2 sacks, and one of those was because another position missed an assignment, and the other one was because we had a bad snap that LaNorris had to fall on it. Other than that, the protection was good, and the pockets were good. I don't know what conspiracy theories are out there, but I've never said, and no one in this building has ever said, we need to run the quarterback less. Like, I hear all this crap about they're not running the quarterback enough. We're calling the same goddamn plays we called last year, guys, and we're not saying we need to run LaNorris less. I'm not getting on you, Jack. I know there's like this conspiracy theory going back to the bowl game that we see don't run LaNorris as much. We're running LaNorris plenty, and some of those are reads where LaNorris can hand it or pull it and keep it. Some of those are RPOs where he can run it or throw it. And there's some of those are called design runs that he runs. And I would say every week we want to do what we need to do to win the football game. We ran him the other night. We ran him against Virginia Tech. We ran him against South Carolina and South Carolina State. And teams aren't dumb either. In our mind, last week, we wanted to get the ball out of the Vanderbilt quarterback's hands on some of those zone reads. And these teams we play, they have good coaches, and a lot of them are going to say, don't let 16 carry the ball, because we've seen what happens when he carries the ball too. So we're doing what we got to do to win football games each week, and if that means running LaNorris, then we're going to run LaNorris. Or Luke, or Air, or Cutter, or Jimmy Francis, or Brandon Cunningham, or whoever we got in there playing quarterback.
You heard it. That means more design runs for Jimmy Francis.
All right.
On Saturday.
Yeah, relax. Relax with the last 3 dudes on the depth chart. We don't need that. We got that. I think that was a very poignant clip, and it is interesting because that is a lot of the conversation that's happening. So when you hear that they don't listen to outside noise, they do.
They do.
Right.
Yes.
That is a conversation that is happening. But Elijah, as he's wont to do, went and did some numbers. So let's check it out.
So, yeah, we'll look at 2 things here. Dropbacks and designed runs. So last year, LaNorris Sellers dropped back to pass, according to Pro Football Focus, 381 times. He played 12 games. That is 31.75 times per game. Did the math, made sure a calculator did that for me, so I didn't have to do live math on air. This year, he is dropping back to pass, I believe my math's at 29 times. Now, he's only completed 19 passes, which leads for some scrambles. There are some sacks counted in there. That is just any time you are dropping back to pass. If I can get my mouse to work here. And then for designed runs.
This is the one I want to hear.
Yes. Now, Pro Football Focus puts it into 3 categories here: gap run, zone run, scramble. I just subtracted scrambles, right? Because a scramble is obviously not something that you're designed to run. A gap run or a zone run is an instance where it is designed for you to run the ball. Last year, he had either a gap or a zone run 5.9 times a game. This season, and I divided it by 2 instead of 3 because he played 3 quarters against South Carolina State. He only played 2 quarters. So really we're 2 games and a smidge, right, of a sample size. But in that sample size, prorated 4.25 times per game. So it went down. So dropbacks are down and designed runs are down.
So last year at the end of the season with all the games as total, it was what, 5.9 design runs?
Yep.
This year it is
4.25.
So that's like 1. And I don't know if that's statistically significant enough to say that there's a huge difference. I think both, as with everything, both sides can have reasons for their argument. Yes, it is statistically less, but Shane could also counter back with, I mean, come on, it's 1 less than what we've been doing. So I can hear both sides on that argument. As far as that concerned, my argument that I was making is I want to see more. I don't care what we did last year. This is a new year. I want to see more. I want to see that number go higher.
That's
than
my
5.
thing. Yeah.
That's my thing. I don't
Right.
I don't care if we're running the same plays we ran last year. I want it to be more than last year. I need it to be, if it was 5.9, I'd like it to be 7, 8. A significant like 2 to 3, maybe 4 more carries than it was last year. So that's my argument. I'm not saying we run in different plays. That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
I want more though.
I'm greedy.
Yeah.
I'm greedy.
That's what I'm saying.
I saw that man fight off an entire Clemson defense, and I said, I want more of that.
And I think as I watched the Vanderbilt game, I think the reason why I'm crystallizing this is because in my opinion, when you give him more design runs, you give him an opportunity to be a weapon as opposed to a target. When you're sitting in the pocket, you're a target. You don't get a chance. Even if he throws people off and even if he has to fight people off, he's not being able to be the one that takes the fight to him. And I think on design runs, he can either A, run you over, B, run around you, or C, get down. And I think that gives him more of an opportunity to protect himself.
He gets to be the hammer.
Correct.
Love Hammer, Lenoris. Love it. Go back to our AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Marv is on the line wanting to react to what it was we just heard. Marv, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, good morning, guys. My biggest takeaway was he said we're running the same plays we ran last year. Did we not hire a new offensive coordinator? Does he not have his own playbook? What are we doing? Are we a program or are we not? I'm going to hang up and listen because I'm confused.
I understand the confusion. I understand
I
it.
will admit, Marv, my ears did perk up when he said that also. I was like, okay, now, part of the argument for hiring Mike Schuler that there was a continuance of the offense from last year.
Yes.
That's part of the argument.
Continuity.
But Marv, I will admit, I heard this thing and I said, that's interesting.
Well, that would tell me, too, that if you're running the same plays, you're definitely not as successful as you were on the back half of last year. Because it really clicked, right? I mean, I'm old enough to remember you hanging 34 on Missouri because Lenoris threw for 327 yards. Remember that pretty vividly. I still remember you scoring 28 against that same Vanderbilt team that you played this past weekend. And doing so by being incredibly effective on offense, right? Even if it took a half to get going, that offense was humming that second half. It's not moving the ball the same way. I mean, you moved it a little bit on Saturday, but you didn't take advantage of the scoring opportunities that you had, right? You only get so many in a game. And the final result is the final result. That final result was 7 points. So far this year, you scored 17 on offense against South Carolina State, 17 against Virginia Tech. And right now, Old Dominion and Vanderbilt both scored more against Virginia Tech than you did. There's still something on offense that isn't clicking. So if you're running the same plays, now my question becomes, where is the issue coming then? Is it an execution thing? Because that end up, if we're trying to just use context clues, might be where that leads us. At least to me. That might be an explanation. But that's a good question, Marv. I mean, I would like to know the differences and how it's run. Well, we're not going to get those answers because there's still 9 games to play. They're not going to spill their hand there. But I think it's definitely a question that's worth asking. Now, Luke Doty spoke yesterday, and more than likely, to me, we'll see him play on Saturday. What are his thoughts on some of the offensive struggles, and what are they looking to correct after the Vanderbilt loss? He was asked. He answered. You'll hear that next.
Still working an earlier tie-up, and that's Forest Drive at I-77, also North Lake Drive at East Main Street in Lexington. 86 today, 88 tomorrow, 90 on Friday, 89 on Saturday. A mix of clouds and sun each and every day. No rain in the forecast at this point. 61 right now on 107.5 The Game.
Luke Doty, a man that has been at Carolina longer than I have been here in South Carolina. Which,
that's a great game.
I've only been here once January rolls around. It will be 3 years, so it's not like I've been here forever. But Luke Doty has got me beat in that category by double. But he's getting a chance again in his vast experience playing in a South Carolina uniform to more than likely. Again, I am not reporting anything. More than likely getting to play on Saturday and starting against Missouri in a really important game for this football team to try to turn things around on the offensive side of the ball. He spoke yesterday before Shane took the podium and was first asked, this will be cut 23, first asked about the challenge of what he's having to do with being thrust into SEC action.
I think, anybody we play in this league, it's going to be a challenge. It doesn't matter if it's, if it's Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Georgia, like everybody in this league is good. So I wouldn't say there's anything that's, just that stands out to me other than just being ready to go when my number's called. And I think that's something that I try to, I challenge myself every single day out of the week to prepare as if I am the starter so that when moments, like Saturday happen, I'm ready to go and I can step in and do what I need to do. So I'd say I would challenge myself, more of a challenge to myself to make sure that I'm prepared in those moments.
Stay ready so you never have to get ready. That's the motto of every backup quarterback in football. And if I recall, Preston Thorne, it wasn't but a whole month ago where I think we had an entire show dedicated to the importance of the backup quarterback. And we're about to find out. South Carolina's not the only team that's had to figure that out in the SEC, because Ole Miss had to play an SEC game at home against Arkansas with Trinidad Chambliss at quarterback, which, credit to you guys, when I gave you a list of SEC backup names and put a fake name in there, you heard Trinidad Chambliss and did not immediately assume it was fake.
Not to be confused with the American poet Trinidad James, correct?
Correct.
Not the same guy. Okay.
American poet, different than Ole Miss quarterback.
Yeah, gotcha. And also Trinidad Chambliss, bald.
Yeah. He might have had one of the best games. That was one game when I got done with everything yesterday and I took my normal nap, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put on Arkansas Ole Miss.
Ball.
And see what I missed out on that one, because I'm one of those games that spiritually I want 80 total points scored. That game played to my football-loving soul. So I put that one on, and it was so fun to watch, I didn't end up going to sleep. I was dog-tired, and you guess what I still didn't do? Sleep.
Yeah.
I still didn't sleep because I was like, I want to see how all these points are being scored. Trinidad Chambliss specifically dueled 21 for 29, 353 yards, and a touchdown. Oh, yeah, he got down on the ground, too. 15 carries for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns.
How many carries?
15.
Yes, and I think that's the really interesting thing. So when you insert Trinidad Chambliss into a Lane Kiffin offense, he goes into a system knowing this is what the quarterback does in this system. That's where you bring it back to us. What does the quarterback do in this system? What is this system? What is the quarterback's responsibility in said system? How does this system adapt to the new quarterback's skills? Those are all questions that need to be answered moving forward as we have this conversation about who is the quarterback.
And I think that would include running Luke Doty in maybe some of the same ways that you run Lenore. I mean, Luke was playing wide receiver the last couple of years. Clearly, he has an athletic skill set that you value to put him out wide if you're not playing him at quarterback.
When Luke came out of high school, way back in the teens.
Oh,
right?
man. Around the time I graduated college.
Not in the 20s, in the teens. When Luke came out of high school, he came out as a dual threat quarterback. A true dual threat quarterback, a guy that can hurt you both ways. Even more so if you used to do that Madden sort of, like the knob.
Yeah.
It would be turned more towards the legs is where he really made his money. And so I would, here I go again, give him the ball. Let's block it up. Let's see. I don't care if we're running some single wing type of things with him. Let him use those legs to run. We don't need Luke to be going through pro progressions and trying to make half-field reads and all that. Nah, man, let's go back to old school and do some things with him to take advantage of the skills that he does have.
Especially if it's something Missouri hasn't seen on tape.
Correct.
If you can maybe install something that Missouri hasn't seen, because that may be an advantage that you have, is that they haven't seen what your offense looks like a ton, with Luke Doty specifically being the player that is playing. We have plenty of calls here at AAA Heating and Air phone line.
Appreciate y'all listening.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to start with Ray first. Ray, welcome back to the early game. Good to hear from you, sir.
I know it. Long time no talk, huh?
Yeah.
Good morning. I tell you, good morning, guys. Good morning. I'll tell you, Preston, Elijah, I very seldom listen to the coaches' show on Tuesday. But going forward, I don't think I'm going to miss one. I thought it would all be a bit entertaining. And, and I understand, the coach, not throwing the coach under the bus or anything like that. But I was just amazed at the press and how some people take their job seriously and ask the right questions, and how some people have been here for decades ask the most mundane softball questions I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, that's that. But what I was going to get at, when I heard Coach Bieber say conspiracy theory, there's no conspiracy theory. You just watch the team. I mean, these questions about the offense, are legitimate. Mm-hmm. But what I noticed when somebody like Jack, I thought asked an excellent question. But when somebody asked a question about the offense, you could see Beamer you could just hear him. It was just like he was ready to fight. But you could say the defense missed tackles, and which our defense unit is way better. But if somebody criticized the defense, he was first to agree with it. But if you said something about the offense, oh my God, it was blasphemy. But I found it all to be a bit entertaining. I guess I'll start listening to them. But I was just absolutely amazed. Where has real journalism gone? And I'm not talking politics. I'm talking sports. But was it this way in Tennessee land, Elijah? At the press conferences, was it pretty much the coach pretty much bullied the press corps? I don't get it, but I'll get off the phone. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate
my brother
it,
in Christ, my last spot that I was in, we covered Mike Vrabel press conferences. And if that was what you thought of Shane Beamer yesterday, you have heard nothing. You have heard nothing. I had to listen to hours of Mike Vrabel press conferences. Nothing can phase me in terms of a coach being dismissive. Shane is not in the same stratosphere as Mike Vrabel was in terms of being dismissive. But fair observation, because I think Shane is definitely tired of talking about this offense, because I think he knows too. I think that's the thing. Like, Shane's a smart guy. He knows that 7 points in an SEC game ain't going to win you any SEC games unless the other team forgets to come up off the bus.
It goes back to the old Saban quote, quit asking.
Right, yeah. I think that's where he's at, right? I think he is just tired of talking about this offense.
Poison.
Yeah, I think he's just tired of talking about the offense. I think that's usually where that comes from, is just being tired of talking about the offense, because he knows. He watches the tape. We see it. He sees it. I think that's where his frustration, if I had to pinpoint it, comes from. We have a couple other calls on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. We'll get to those to round out hour number 1 next. Sometimes there can be a few hurdles and obstacles that can keep you from getting the care that you need, whether you're recovering from a surgery or you're managing just a chronic condition that's just been bothering you forever and you need physical therapy. One of those barriers can be travel, right? Transportation, because clearly if you're in pain or if you're recovering from surgery, it can be hard to get to where you need to be to get that care. But with Vertex PT Specialists, they're here to change the game because Vertex PT Specialists provides skilled physical therapy and they deliver it right to your door. Their outpatient home health team brings that one-on-one clinic level care straight to your house, serving Lexington and Richland County. So if you're in Lexington County, Richland County, you're listening right now and you need help by having physical therapy brought to you, listen up. 803-973-0100. Give them a call and let Vertex PT Specialists bring recovery to you. Eight zero 404 6100. That is the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. And we got some friends on there right now, starting off with Tom. Tom, thanks for calling to the early game. What you got for us?
So I have a question, and maybe Preston can help us with this one. It seems like Carolina has brought in these heralded freshman receivers, and they show up on campus, and quite honestly, they don't kind of make a big impact, it seems to me, on the offense. And I look up at Clemson, and when they bring the freshman receivers, they're making plays, they have an impact. I'm just curious, first of all, if you agree with me, and second of all, if you do, what do you maybe attribute that to? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Tom.
Tom, appreciate the call. Thank you for wanting to hear my perspective on wide receivers. But here's what I think.
I can tell you're flattered.
This particular year right here, I do think that's a fair question because we were the narrative going into the season that we have, and even Shane repeated it yesterday during the conversation. We have a lot of depth in that room. My question is, where is the depth? Because the depth does not seem to be at the top of the room. It seems like we have a bunch of people stuck in the middle, and there hasn't been a standout guy. I do position that wide receiver is one of the easier positions on a college football field to come in and immediately make an impact, and we have not seen that from the group of receivers that we brought that in. So I don't think you're wrong in that observation. I can't speak historically because I just haven't done that, thought about that right now. Maybe I'll come back to that. But for this year specifically, I think anybody that says, hey, where are the freshman wide receivers that we were promised, I think you're very right to ask that question.
And here's the thing, too. I guess maybe on the premise of Tom's point would disagree a little bit because Mazeo Bennett as a true freshman was second on your team in receptions last year. True freshman came in, and I see his point that maybe you wanted more from the class coming in this year. I totally get it, but that's one thing about Mazeo Bennett, too. Second in the team in receptions last year. He's not second in the team in receptions this year. Mm-hmm. He's actually tied for fifth in receptions. He has as many receptions as Rasul Faison does. You'd like to see more from Mazeo Bennett, right? Whatever that is. And maybe the offense hasn't called for it, but I think the offense would benefit a lot more if you did get something from Mazeo Bennett and Jared Brown. Those are two guys that are veteran receivers, right? I think the issue that I have is that you would like to see more from your non-freshman receivers. I think Donovan Murphy has done a good job for somebody who didn't get to participate in the spring and reclassified. He's supposed to be a high school senior right now. And he reclassified, didn't get to play in the spring, came in the fall, and is currently tied for third on the team in receptions with Brady Hunt with 5. I think he's played really well, but I like Tom too. I would like to see more from Brian Rowe. Brian Rowe, you finally got to see him involved a lot more in the offense because we heard a lot about Brian Rowe in the offseason. I feel like that was the one freshman receiver that we heard just the most about. And you saw some good from Brian Rowe, but you'd like to see more from everybody, like the receiving room across the board, right? Nick Harbor's had a solid season so far, and you've seen the explosiveness from Nick Harbor, but the entire passing game as a whole, I think if you have to see more from everybody, right? And if you can get some freshman receivers to do that, that's going to be a big help. Got about a minute left here, Anthony. We will, we'll hold up on Anthony. Anthony, stick tight because we're about to hit a break. We have a hard out here in about 45 seconds, so I don't want to rush you. But kind of sticking to the point of freshman receivers, do you find it maybe more troubling that some of the veteran receivers haven't put up as much statistically, or that really Brian Rowe and Donovan Murphy are the only two freshmen that have, I believe, caught passes so far?
I think in
that group.
I think in the wide receiver room, once you enter the room, everybody's fair game, and nobody has stepped up in taking the mantle of being a viable guy. Yes, Nick has done well. It feels like he's the number one target when the Norris drops back.
Definitely
but other than that, it seems like a bunch of dudes in a room, and nobody's stepped up and taken the mantle, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think that Nick Harbor's gotten a lot of the target share, and rightfully so. I mean, he is the best athlete you have on the team. He may be the best athlete in America on any college football team, so I get it. Versatility. You get a couple of guys that are able to help once the attention is drawn to Nick Harbor, because that's one thing Clark Lee told Cole Kublik during the broadcast, is they're going to do whatever they can to make sure Nick Harbor's not the one beating them over the top. Other guys are going to have to step up because I have a feeling other teams are going to try to copy and paste that defensive strategy on you as the season rolls on. A whole bank of phone calls and a whole lot more coming up in hour number 2 of the early game. You know what I don't like? I like a lot of things in life, but I don't like walking around on my carpet and stepping on something that I would describe as gummy and matted down. Ugh, it's gross. Don't love it because my carpet's got to be soft and fluffy, most importantly, with zero residue and a lasting clean. So that is why I call Zerorez every single time. If you have mystery stains on your carpets, now is the time to give your carpets a clean slate the safe way with that deep and lasting clean of Zerorez. And this month, the more you clean, the more you save. You can get 3 rooms for $119, 4 for $144, and 5 for just $169. Save up to $30 and schedule with Zerorez today and get you some discounts this month because the patented cleaning process of Zerorez uses no harsh chemicals. It's a clean that's safe for your family and your pet. Schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
In Lexington, we have a car versus deer incident. North Lake Drive at Old Cherokee Road. Also, Fish Hatchery Road near Meadowfield Road, an accident there. And Bluff Road at I-77. So be mindful and allow for some slowdowns if you're approaching one of those areas. And yeah, the forecast, we'll take it. 86 today. Looks like 88 tomorrow, maybe even 90 on Friday. A mix of clouds and sun each day. And we are certainly starting off the morning pretty similar to what we have in recent days. 61 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We're in the club, the early game club. And so are you, 803.
And we make about 50 cents or 50 cents.
That would be a pay raise.
Yes, right.
That's why they pay us the bucks around here.
Absolutely.
My favorite jokes to make. After any time I do anything, oh, you're the man. Oh, no, that's why they pay me the bucks around here.
So you get paid.
That's right. That's right. 803-404-6100, our AAA Heating and Air phone lines. We have a couple of you patiently waiting. We'll start off with Anthony. Anthony, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Hello?
Hello, yes. Good morning.
Hey, I think, in my opinion, Mike Shula needs to be fired. Carolina needs to take the debt and get themselves an offensive coordinator. Luke Doty shouldn't be quarterback number 2. He's a better weapon, either being wide receiver or tight end. They need to put one of their other studs that they have, because they have multiple studs, as backup quarterback. Let's see. And our offensive line has actually improved in the last 3 games. I do agree with Preston on the 3-game thing. Our line has improved a little bit, but our offense has declined a little bit, if that makes sense. And I believe that has to do with the leader. And the leader of that pack, it would be Shula. And you can tell by Norris's eyes after he got sacked that he didn't trust them anymore, and that's a big thing, because the trust has to be there. But that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate your call, Anthony. I guess one thing I agree with there is the offensive line has improved a little bit. Still not where it needs to be for you to be able to win football games. And I don't find that to be controversial at all. But they had, like, that first half, they were a lot better. Unfortunately for them, they made the one crucial mistake that turned the game, and that was not picking up Langston Patterson on a blitz.
Mm-hmm.
Langston Patterson hits your quarterback. Your quarterback does not return for the game, and I am not anticipating seeing him for the next game.
Yeah, I gave the analogy yesterday. You can take a test and you get all the multiple choice right. You get the essay wrong, your grade's not going to look good.
No.
And so they did well on some of the smaller things as far as run blocking, all those types of things. But their number one job is to protect the franchise, and they failed in that. So that's where they're going to have to reconcile. And also, hey, their job's still up regardless of who's playing quarterback. You're still going to have to protect them, because if you're at QB2, you presumably don't want to go to QB3 or 4, right? So you want to stay right here if that's where it's going to be.
Sure, Jimmy Francis, great guy.
Much props.
Much props. I mean, you are a player that is playing in the SEC. You are a good football player,
correct?
Right? You don't want to have to see Jimmy Francis, right? You don't have to get that low on the depth chart. I know Shane Beamer mentioned whether it's Luke, Air, Cutter, Jimmy that's out on the field. You don't want to get to quarterback number 4 on anyone's roster, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care whose roster it is, mm-hmm. right? The New York Giants don't want to get to quarterback number 4.
Cleveland Browns?
I think a lot of people would like to see the Cleveland Browns get to quarterback number 4. I think that's what a lot of people are cheering to see, is the Cleveland Browns get to quarterback number 4. But if you're the Cleveland Browns, you don't want to get to quarterback number 4.
You don't.
Not a football team in America that wants to get to that point. And given the 3-game sample size, the Preston Thorne rule of judging a team after 3 games, because to be fair, that is a quarter of the season.
We're here.
It's amazing how fast that flies by.
If we was in school, this is interim reports. We're here.
Midterms.
We're here.
That's where we're at. And right now, the offense is definitely failing the midterms. Something has to be rectified right there, because, again, even if you move the ball well, even if you show some flashes that are good, obviously you'll take what you can get, but you got to put up more than 7 points on the scoreboard, especially this weekend against a Missouri team that seemingly all they do is score points. We'll go back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, 803-404-6100. And Steve is on the line with us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good, brother.
Okay, first, yesterday I heard 2 coaches speak, and one of Dabo Swinney would start with him. And the Clemson fan base is like, getting on him now because they're 1-2. But he said check my track record the last 10 years, 4 national championships, 2 won, 8 ACC championships in the playoff last year. So if y'all want me to go, I go. I coach somewhere else. He could say that because he have the track record to back him. But I heard Shane Beamer say yesterday, with some authority behind it, he's tired of hearing this crap about getting Lenore Sellers more involved. Okay, so I don't think no coaches on this team is saying that. Players ain't saying that. So he's really speaking to the fan base. And for me, I think that there's a development problem down there, Carolina, because if Gamecock fans get used to one good year, next year maybe. It's the 1 year good, 1 year bad, because the players developing themselves, I believe. And for him to come out and speak against the fans like that, because 2 things a coach don't want to lose. First is locker room, and you definitely don't want to lose the fan base. So, Beamer, you lost by 24 points, not to Georgia, Alabama. You lost to Vanderbilt by 24 points. And you saying the crap you're hearing, to me, that don't sit well. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Steve. And I think the big thing, and I think Steve hits on it a little bit, it's who you lost. Even though the first one to tell you, Vanderbilt is a good football team. It's still Vanderbilt, right? And that's, I think, a feeling in the fan base is that this is a team that you've beaten 16 straight years. You didn't just lose, but you got soundly beat, right? I think that's a big part of it. And another part of the frustration is, too, it's what we talked about coming into this year. What made this year so important is that you had a really successful year last year. You were awesome. You won 9 games. You were the hottest team in the United States of America in the last half of the college football season. You got to try to carry that over. And they said it themselves, too. Their whole motto for the year is going farther.
Further, yep.
Yeah. And unfortunately for them, losing to Vanderbilt at home is not going further. They have to be able to turn this thing around, and that's where the frustration within a fan base is going to come from.
Really quickly, Jen, can we get clip number 1 here? Because I want to make sure we hear Shane say what Shane said, because Steve paraphrased what Shane said. And I want to make sure we hear exactly what Shane said. So this is clip number 1 here.
As far as the pocket, I think he's done well. I think the South Carolina State game, I think I mentioned it last week, where there's a 3rd down that we throw to Mike Smith, and he does a great job stepping up in the pocket and making throws. The protection was good the other night. Again, we had 2 sacks, and one of those was because another position missed an assignment, and the other one was because we had a bad snap that Lenoris had to fall on it. Other than that, the protection was good and the pockets were good. I don't know what conspiracy theories are out there, but I've never said, and no one in this building has ever said, we need to run the quarterback less. Like, I hear all this crap about they're not running the quarterback enough. We're calling the same goddamn plays we called last year, guys, and we're not saying we need to run Lenoris less. I'm not getting on you, Jack. I know there's like this conspiracy theory going back to the bowl game that we see it don't run Lenoris as much. We're running Lenoris plenty, and some of those are reads where Lenoris can hand it or pull it and keep it. Some of those are RPOs where he can run it or throw it. And there's some of those are called design runs that he runs. And
so that is what, well, those are the words from Shane Beamer.
Right. I just wanted to make sure we gave the exact words so that we're not, but Steve, you were close. I mean, that was pretty close to what he said, but I just want to make sure if you were just tuning in, you got to hear exactly what Shane said during the presser yesterday.
Yeah, and a lot of that with the usage. And I'll hear him out. A lot of it is RPO based. So if a decision is being made at the line of scrimmage to either hand the ball off or pull it and throw it, that can result in less runs. But looking back on the numbers of maybe what the design runs were, I'll go ahead and go back to this because this is something I decided to look up after the fact, is according to Pro Football Focus, they break things off into 3 different categories with quarterback runs: gap runs, zone runs, scrambles. So I just subtracted the scrambles, right? Because a lot of what Lenoris Sellers did, to be fair, was a design pass play, pocket breaks down, and he turns something out of a broken pocket. And that something would usually result in a 1st down or a touchdown, right? i.e. the Clemson game last year. So last season, he was averaging about 5.9, what PFF would consider designed runs per game. This year, in what is essentially 2 full games, really he has played, 9 quarters? So 2 games and a quarter. He's averaging about 4.25 design runs per game. It is less, but not a drastic difference in less. So there is some merit to what he's saying, but I think what we all want to see too is LaNorris Sellers used as the hammer, like you mentioned. Use him as the hammer as the runner because he gets to be the aggressor, right? Well, instead of having to be the one who is the target, he gets to be the one targeting, not 15-yard penalty and ejection targeting, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's negligible, the difference between this year and last year. It's like 1 carry, as you stated. So both sides could make an argument.
Yes.
What Preston is saying is, I want more.
I too. I'm greedy because I'm greedy.
Yeah, I want more. If it's 5.9 or whatever that number is, I want to bump that up to 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. Because again, when Norris gets to be the aggressor, I think you can control his actual opportunities for injury because he can A, run you over, in which he's the aggressor. B, he can run around you. Or C, if as he could learn to get down and or get out of bounds. And I think you put him in the driver's seat as opposed to him sitting and having to react. Even though that's what he does. He does that well. And some of the great plays we've seen from him are him throwing guys off his shoulder. But how about him having his eyes forward and being this? I want to see. So I don't disagree with what Shane's saying. The numbers bear it out, and it's close. But I'm saying I want more.
Yes.
More runs for LaNorris.
Yes, and because I'm still convinced Texas A&M's B.J. Mays is outlined to chalk and buried somewhere on the somewhere over near the 40-yard line at Williams-Brice Stadium right now. It was one of the best plays of the year last year. We'll go back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Patrick is on the line right now. Good morning, Patrick. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm pretty well. Got a 3-part question for you. I listened to the press conference Shane did, and he made a point that we're running the same plays this year that we ran last year. So, A, do you think that it's a personnel issue that we just don't have the people to perform those plays? Or B, that other teams have done their homework and know what we're doing, expect what we're doing? Or C, that maybe, just maybe, LaNorris doesn't have the talent everybody thought he had and just can't get the job done this year against those defenses that have picked up on his tendencies?
I think it's
now,
two of the first there.
Appreciate the call.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the call, Patrick. I think it's the first two. I think LaNorris' talent is undisputed. I think you saw it last year. I don't think you do the things he did last year if you don't have that in you because he did it pretty consistently. I think there could be some other execution factors on offense. There could be some other things that just aren't being done in some really small details because sometimes those small details can add up to big results, right? And big result changes from one year to another. Another thing, there could be teams are adjusting, right? If you are playing, because Shane mentioned, a lot of the plays are RPOs or a lot of them are read options. There is probably, I'd be willing to bet, a more concerned effort by defensive coordinators to say, hey, contain that edge, don't crash in, and see if their running backs can beat you.
Bingo. And that goes back to, I didn't see the caller's name, sorry. But that was a great point about Patrick, about maybe personnel. Because now, maybe this year, you can focus on, hey, we're going to take the ball out of LaNorris' hands. Well, guess what happened last year if you took the ball out of LaNorris' hands? Launch him.
Rocket Sanders, NFL running back.
It's a different thing. And we haven't proven that we have that guy back there where teams have to be a little bit, they have to spread their focus on all of these guys who can hurt you. Right now, teams can obviously say, hey, take it out of LaNorris' hands, and let's see if any one of these other guys can hurt us. And it hasn't been to that point yet.
Coming up next, we have the early game morning meeting, which will include another phone call. And what is concussion protocol? Because those two words will heavily be in the South Carolina Gamecock football lexicon this week as we try to monitor LaNorris Sellers' injury situation. All of that and more in the morning meeting next.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. This week, Thursday, I'm looking at Miami at Buffalo, and I'm taking Tyreek Hill to go lower than 66.5 yards receiving and lower than 5.5 receptions. If you know what's going on with Miami, you know why. Download the app today, sign up with the promo code EARLYGAME to score $50 in bonus funds when you play to your first $5. That's promo code EARLYGAME. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in South Carolina. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Still working that earlier slowdown Bluff Road at I-77. Also, a few more to make you aware of. Fish Hatchery Road near Middlefield Road. And in Lexington, Car versus Deer at North Lake Drive at Old Cherokee Road. 86 with some clouds today is what we're looking for, and 88 tomorrow. Also a mix of clouds and sun. And starting off your morning at 61 right now on 107.5 The Game.
Time to gather around for the morning meeting. We'll start it with, at least before we get to the music here, start with one announcement, and that is that tomorrow from 3 to 6, the postgame show will be live from Old Mill Brew Pub, 711 East Main, over in Lexington. And then Thursday night, Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer and Todd Ellis. Followed up by that, 7:30, Thursday Night Football, Dolphins and Bills. Mike McDaniel's going to be sweating that one out. I don't like coaching for my job against Josh Allen. And then Friday night, high school football scoreboard show with myself and Justin Hall. And then a full day on Saturday, starting at 2 o'clock, Gamecocks game day with myself and Tyler Head from O'Hara's on Main Street in Lexington. And then at 7 o'clock, the viewing party at O'Hara's for the South Carolina-Missouri game in Como. And with that being said, let's start the rest of our morning meeting.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
I can feel it already.
Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
And to kick off our meeting, we'll go to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, and we will give the floor to our pal Ian. Ian, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
What's up, boys? How are we doing this morning?
Doing
Fantastic.
Well, I just want to come on, and I wanted to talk about, I think that the issue is not necessarily the play calling as a whole, but the main thing that I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have, but in every single, I am going to rip my hair out if I see in a short yardage situation, we run inside zone one more time. I mean, every single run in a short yardage situation has been an inside zone, and you can even tell that Beamer's frustrated with the play calling because if you remember during the game at halftime when he got interviewed about that 4th down and 1, and he said, we're sitting there with a stacked box and we run inside zone. And it's like, I think that one of the keys is you have a workhorse in Faison who has breakaway speed, and we've got to get this guy some outside looks. We've got to stretch this field when everybody knows that if it's inside a 3rd and 5, you're either going to run an ISO, inside zone, or some kind of a read option. You know it's not going to go outside of the tackles. That makes it so much easier for defensive coordinators to be able to plan for what we're doing. I'm not calling for Shula's job. I still think that we have a lot of an opportunity to get it together. But like you guys said, we're 25% of the way through the season, and the play calling has been, especially in short yardage situations, very vanilla. Well, let me know your thoughts off it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for the call, Ian.
Appreciate your call.
I like.
Y'all are on fire with the calls today, for sure.
I was going to say.
And on top of not just calling, everybody's been on point.
Yeah, I think what I liked about Ian's calls, too, is identified a problem, gave a solution.
Mm-hmm.
More outside run plays. And not opposed to it, just because you saw what worked at, what can work and what does not work. And the 4th down and 1 against Vanderbilt, the first one that you didn't get, you did run into a wall. Rasul Faison did run into a wall of humanity on that 4th and 1, and it was not particularly close. And that was one that you really, 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 really needed.
Yeah, and it's difficult to switch the mentality, and this offensive lineman will probably understand this, from zone blocking, in which you're essentially going side to side, instead of 4th and 1 where you need to go vertical. You need to move somebody to the other side of the line of scrimmage. And those are two different types of mentalities that you have, so it's difficult to switch that. And so, yeah, I hear you, Ian, when you're saying that. I think that's a fair observation.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you are getting a certain look from a defense, then maybe an audible could be warranted. I think that's a fair point. I think it's a very fair point.
So today during the morning meeting, we want to make sure we all are clear on concussion protocol, because concussion protocol is a phrase and a word that we hear all the time, but we just want to make sure everybody understands exactly what it is. And this is something I didn't realize until I just looked it up. We've been saying this phrase, and we've been here since 2010. So we've been in this idea of what is concussion protocol for the good. And let me make sure I'm clear on that. For the betterment of the game, for the preservation of the game and the players, concussion protocols were implemented by the NCAA and at various levels of football. So it consists of a couple of things. The first part is you have to have preseason baseline testing. What does that testing consist of? It consists of neurological scans where each player goes in and you have to, the best way I can, if you've never done it, the best way I can compare it to is like when you take an eye test and you have to say like, oh, I can see this, I can't see this. You do certain things and it registers your brain waves to make sure that your brain is working on the same level before the season as it is after a potential brain injury. Mm-hmm. Very specific use of words there, right?
Yep.
Because a concussion is a brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, it's not getting dinged up. It's not getting your bell rung. It is a brain injury. And so we have to appreciate the seriousness of it. That's the first part. The second part of the concussion protocol is now you get removed from the game, and now it starts from there. And there's a couple of different layers to when you are actually able to return. First, you have to pass the baseline test. Mm-hmm. You have to at least get back to the baseline that you were preseason. Then there's the physical component.
Yes, and as someone who has taken a baseline test,
you have
my senior year in high school.
Cool.
Yes, we had a new athletic trainer. Shout out Lloyd Knudsen, who came from Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
He was working in the Iowa State's athletic department, and the first thing he did, day one of the job, everybody across all sports take a baseline test.
And they do that across high schools.
Yep.
Correct.
So I had to do all, and a lot of it's reaction stuff. It's what your reaction time is for certain things. It's their vision tests. So there's a bunch of things that measure what your brain on a normal day functions like. And as somebody who did get concussed in a basketball game, had to take the baseline test and failed it miserably, did not get to go back in, right? Mm-hmm. So that can confirm huge component of that. I pulled from, because I know it can vary from organization to organization, so I went and found what the kind of the clinical standard is for a concussion protocol. So I pulled this from the clevelandclinic.org. So that part, what you just mentioned, is the recognition and evaluation. Mm-hmm. Then there's the whole rest and recovery period. So Correct. Following a concussion, the individual should rest both physically and cognitively. This period allows the brain to heal and is crucial for recovery. Recovery times can vary. That's a big thing here too. It's not a set standard for everybody as to when you return from a concussion. Careful monitoring is essential to ensure the symptoms resolve before returning to activities. And then there's a gradual return to activity. So once those symptoms that have been identified improved, a stepwise approach is taken to reintroduce activities. And this will typically start with light physical activity mm-hmm. and gradually increase in intensity. So you have to be able to pass your baseline test. And then once you start your gradual return, you are slowly reintroduced to the physical activity it was you were doing, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, anything else, slowly returning to that activity. And medical clearance is often required before returning to what are full contact sports or considered high risk activities. And then after that, there's still a whole monitoring and follow up.
So one of the phrases or one of the kind of guidelines is when in doubt, sit out.
Yep.
Right?
Very fair.
That's the slogan. When in doubt, sit out. And the issue with concussions is that, I've seen it at the high school level. Shout out to Steve Meisel, Blythewood High School, and all the athletic trainers across the state. Y'all do an amazing job mm-hmm. keeping high school sports rolling. I've seen it where, players would be physically capable. They don't feel like they have any actual symptoms, but they haven't passed the baseline test yet, right? Or they've passed the baseline test, but they're still having some light still affecting them in a little bit. And this is where it comes to, like everybody has to have 100% transparency and communication. And so oftentimes it's not necessarily like the physicality of it. It's more so, are you symptom free and have you passed the baseline test? And then from there, we can proceed forward because it is a very difficult situation.
So that is our overview of the concussion protocol. Coming up next, we're going to give out our Denny Green Awards. Who is who we thought they were? That's next. Wise words to remember. If you have a leak, let my pals at Midstate Roofing take a peek. They've been taking a peek for nearly 30 years. And not only do they take peeks, they also become leaders in the roofing and waterproofing industry, the best at the best in giving the proper advice, service, and most importantly, the results to the specific needs of your facility. It's another thing that makes Midstate Roofing so valuable is not only do they give you advice, but they also give you that results, and they give you guarantees, right? They give you those guarantees by way of designing and installing bonded systems to give you that guarantee to keep your operation dry and running long into the future. And to add to the guarantees here, you can protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Give them a call at 803-356-1919, or you can hit them up online at midstateroofing.com. And remember, if you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Bluff Road at I-77, an accident still in progress. Also, Fish Hatchery Road near Meadowfield Road. Monticello Road near Columbia College Drive, we actually have a report of a vehicle on fire. North Lake Drive at Old Cherokee, still getting that cleaned up from an earlier car versus deer incident. South Lake Drive at I-20, an accident. And Three Dog Road at or near Dutch Fork Road up in the Chapin area. So a few accidents that you want to allow a little extra time to get around. 86 for the high today, 88 tomorrow. Right now, not too bad. 61 on the early game.
Ah, 2006. I remember it like it was yesterday because I remember watching a Monday Night Football game where the Arizona Cardinals gagged away a 20-point lead to the Rex Grossman-led Chicago Bears, which led to this infamous coaching rant.
The Bears are what we thought they were. They're what we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes a third game in the preseason like it's bullshit? We played them in the third game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
They are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook. So that has inspired me. So I always wanted to, whenever I had my own radio show, I want to give out Denny Green Awards. So we've been doing that the last couple of weeks. Who is who we thought they were?
This is a really interesting question because there's a lot of teams that could fall into this category. There's a lot of Pacific players that might fall into this category. You got a nominee?
I have a nominee because I think we kind of decided we want to do a quarterback edition.
It's quarterback edition.
Nico Iamaleava. Or who we thought you were.
You are who we thought you were because, man, and you're not who you thought you were.
No.
You are not. When you walked into that Tennessee office and demanded more money or demanded more players at your position, you thought that you were the dude. Apparently you're not, brother.
Yeah. Let's go back in the time machine all the way back into spring where he makes his demands. He wants to be paid in the neighborhood of Carson Beck, Darian Mensa, the guys who are making $4 million in college football to play quarterback. And I think the consensus nationally was you're a highly touted prospect. You had a solid season at Tennessee, but you're not one of the best quarterbacks in college football.
And to be fair, a lot of Tennessee folks would say like, hey man, he missed a lot of throws last year.
Because he did.
Right.
That was his flaw. He missed a lot of throws down the field.
So it's the same sort of conversation that we're having with Lenora Sellers, where the nation was going crazy and they're seeing his highlight plays. And then some people that watch him every game were like, he does fumble a lot, though.
Yeah.
There are some things, because when you watch a player every single game, you're more acquainted with some of his maybe shortcomings.
Yeah.
And for Tennessee and Nico saying, they were like, hey, man, he misses a lot of throws.
He missed a ton.
Some people even argue, this may be to the extreme, some people are arguing that, hey, Tennessee made it to the CFP in spite, not because of him, but in spite of him last year.
Yeah, and I would fully agree with that. That was a dominant defense that Tennessee had. They had a dominant running game. They had the leading rusher in the SEC. That helped a lot. And Nico Iamaleava wants to get paid as one of the highest, if not the highest quarterback in the country. Doesn't get it, goes out to UCLA, and his coach is fired after 3 games because they have a loss at home, 43-10 loss to Utah. No shame in getting your butt kicked by Utah. Utah's a good team. But you follow it up by going to UNLV and losing. And you follow that up by having a home game and losing 35-10 to New Mexico. The UCLA Bruins are 0-2 against the Mountain West. 0-2. Nico Iamaleava, you are who you thought you were.
Here's the issue when you use this as a quarterback edition, because all of the preseason hype is going into quarterbacks, as it should. Because I still contend, if you have a coach and you have a quarterback, you got a shot. Just going to call these names out. Arch Manning.
Ooh.
DJ Lagway. Cade Klubnik.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, Lenora Sellers. 4 teams, 4 quarterbacks who had high expectations, and none of those 4 have lived up to the level that they were preseason.
Mm-hmm. And their offenses aren't reflecting what the talent of the quarterback is. Something is not working within the confines of their offenses.
And I think what you can easily discover is that the general vibe of all of those programs, Arch Manning, DJ Lagway, LaNorris, Cade, the vibe, not high.
Nope. With those programs, because it begins and ends, like the healthier offense begins and ends with elite quarterback play. That is what is your separator, right? But in terms of assigning the Dennis Green Award here out of all those quarterbacks, the one whose struggles I am least surprised by, DJ Lagway. Not because he's not as talented. DJ Lagway is every bit as talented as any quarterback in college football. But what's the one thing we saw in his sample size that's not being shown? You can look at LaNorris, Cade, and Arch and say, yeah, not playing to your potential. Arch, definitely not. I mean, he's straight up been bad this year, right? Like a bad quarterback.
There was one point in the UTEP game, he was 0 for 10 with 1 interception.
Against UTEP. It's straight up been bad. That one baffles me. That one I just have zero answer to. And now there's the whole thing. He's wincing when he throws. Is he hurt? Steve Sarkisian denies he's hurt. A lot of weird stuff going on over there in Austin. But with DJ Lagway, if there's something that he's doing that we thought was in him, was in his sample size last year, despite some of the awesome throws that he makes when you turn on the tape, he had 12 touchdown passes and 9 interceptions last year.
Oh, so he likes this.
We knew he could be a little turnover prone. And against LSU, yep, he completed 33 passes. Yep, he threw for 287, and he threw a touchdown pass, which was right on the money. He made some awesome throws, but he made 5 that went to the other team.
5
interceptions that went to the other team. One of them was returned for a touchdown. So technically speaking, you could say threw 2 touchdown passes, but one of the bad variety.
You could say he completed 38 passes.
You could, but 5 of them went to the other team. So with DJ Lagway having that touchdown interception ratio that he did last year, playing a game in Death Valley against LSU, and throwing 5 interceptions, is who we thought he was.
You can obviously make that argument. We covered Arch. You go to Cade Klubnik. He was supposed to be a guy that's a first-round draft pick. He's talented. All of those things, all of that in combined, but he gets into this Georgia Tech game, he fumbles, and he throws a pick.
Yep.
2 major turnovers that if they don't have those turnovers, or even if they don't have those turnovers in those spots, because the pick is going in, and I believe the fumble is going in also. You can't have your best players messing up in those spots. So a lot of people think they are who they thought they were.
Especially in a game against Georgia Tech, a team that, like Vanderbilt, wants you to play in fine margins and oftentimes does not beat themselves. I think Dennis Green would agree that they are who we thought they were. Dennis Green would also put his entire 2006 Arizona Cardinals team on the line.
Langston Moore, that's you.
That means you, Langston. But who are we putting on the line in the world of football this week? Get on the line. That's next.
Hey guys, feeling like you lost your edge? Maybe brain fog's got you struggling to focus, and maybe you're working out and not seeing the results that you used to. There's a real reason you're not feeling like yourself, and it might be low testosterone. But you don't just have to live with it. You can reclaim your drive, your energy, and all your focus at the Men's Clinic. Dr. Dan Bouknight, a respected local physician, will get to the bottom of it. This isn't some faceless online program. Dr. Dan Bouknight personally tailors your treatment based on your labs and your symptoms. But the best part is this. You can come for an initial consultation with Dr. Bouknight, get your T-level checked, and it's absolutely free. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So don't wait. Call them at 803-875-MENS. That's 803-875-MENS. Or find them at mensclinicsc.com. That's mensclinicsc.com.
It's time to put some players or coaches on the line. It's one of my favorite segments every week. Get on the line.
So we know this is the time every week. We know it's the time every week where we have to get on the line, and they remind us, they give us plenty of ammo to do this. Would you like to do the honors first, sir?
I would love to. All right.
I'm so ready for it.
Because we always start.
If you need to scream in your car, this might be the time for you to do it. You got to let off some juice.
Right, let's
You're
do it.
sitting in traffic. This might be the time.
What killed the offensive drives against Vanderbilt? Turnovers. What was the first thing Shane Beamer mentioned after that loss when talking about the offense? The turnovers. So Lenore Sellers, Isaiah Gustav, Luke Doty, all three of you responsible for turnovers.
Get on the line.
Those are killers.
You cannot have turnovers in any particular game, especially maybe two. Luke, you might have to run double. That being said, while we're here with performance aspects, we don't tolerate turnovers, but we also don't tolerate being stupid. I don't care that you have 7 solo tackles. I don't care that you have 2 sacks. I don't care that you might be an All-American, maybe the first pick in the draft next year. You got yourself ejected. You have 5 penalties on the year. Dylan Stewart, get on the line.
Oh, that's a good one. But the thing about football this weekend, it provided me a lot of fodder, right? And I got to look to one funny one. This is what I noticed yesterday when watching Arkansas Ole Miss. After a player makes a big play, whether it's forcing a turnover or scoring a touchdown, they give that player a basketball, and they make them dunk it on a hoop with the opposing team's logo on the backboard. Ole Miss missed 2 dunks. 2, and one of them missed so bad the ball was out on the field and they had to stop play before a PAT to get the basketball off of the football field. So Ole Miss players who are missing dunks on the sideline,
get on the line. Matter of fact, you don't get to dunk anymore.
No,
you miss a dunk, you don't dunk anymore.
Absolutely not. High school basketball rules. You miss the dunk, you're not allowed to try anymore.
I'm not one to usually do this. I feel like you just have to play the game how it is. I don't complain about officiating because we just take it for the fact that they're bad. But the idea that Lenora Sellers was laying on the ground for 5 minutes and you couldn't take that time to review the play, SEC officiating staff, get on the line. What are you doing? You blew a play. That play had a chance for us to make something happen.
Yeah. Oh, it was gone. Jen and I both were in the press box looking like that's a touchdown. They don't blow that play dead. That was a touchdown.
And who knows what that would have done momentum-wise.
Correct.
Right.
Things change. Things might change with that. So, yes, that whole staff, everybody, get on the line. Replay crew, too, also.
Yeah, like, are you on your phone during that?
Yeah, what was you doing?
What were you doing?
There should have been an alert down like, hey, maybe we need to review this.
Because as soon as Lenore's went down, everybody in that press box looked up at the screen and said, oh, that's a helmet hitting another helmet. Probably worth looking at. Don't let Carolina get lined up and Vanderbilt get lined up and then blow the play dead after the snap is done. You had plenty of time to review that. Plenty of time. I also want to give one for all my Steeler fans out there. Caleb Johnson. For those who didn't see it in the Steelers-Seahawks game, kickoff happens, bounces over to him. He misses it. He clearly touches it, though. Touches the ball, misses it, but instead of going back to get the ball, because, as anybody who watches football knows, that's a live ball, he jots over to the sideline. He jogs straight back over to the sideline. The Seahawks then recover the ball in the end zone. That's a touchdown. Made it a 2-score game. So Caleb Johnson, for just not knowing the rules and loafing,
get on the line. You always think that you don't have to review some of these fundamentals, but every practice, every coach goes over, hey, guys, it's a live ball. Remember, if he kicks it, you have to pick it up. There's always going to be dudes, Coach Holtz used to call these boneheaded plays. And usually we would get the boneheaded play of the week. And it would be all fun and games if you won the game. If you lost the game, it have a different sort of connotation to it. But, yeah, we always want to look out for boneheaded plays. But those are all examples. Anybody else, obviously you could text in anybody you want to put on the line. Again, if you're sitting in traffic and you want to put malfunction junction on the line on repeat, you can always do that.
It's on the line a lot. Trey on the Firehouse Subs text line says people who think the ship is on fire and smoldering need to get on the line. He says Notre Dame lost to NIU last year and still made the playoff.
I like it.
He says, calm down, you Debbie Downers. Get fired up. Move on. Trophy game this weekend, in which I replied, I just wish the trophy looked cooler.
I forgot it was a trophy game.
Well, because it's a very generic-looking trophy. Like, someone just Googled, what does a trophy look like? And that's what they decided for it to be. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Hour number 3 coming up next.
They say perfection is a journey. Well, that journey led us to Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin. Did some renovation in a couple of bathrooms. Needed some countertops for those. We were recommended to go to Carolina Stone Craftsman. We learned after meeting with them, with Rebecca and Ethan, that they understand that any kitchen or bath project can be a significant investment, and that's why they really make it a priority to deliver the most affordable granite, marble, and quartz while still delivering the highest quality countertops and the service that you absolutely deserve. Their showroom, you need to check it out. It is amazing. They have an outdoor showroom for hardscapes to let you know what different hardscapes they can do in your outdoors. But if you are looking for any kind of granite or countertops for your kitchen or bath, reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They're family-owned and operated. Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia in Chapin and beyond your expectations, carolinastonecraftsman.com. Looking at the traffic conditions out there this morning, things definitely have been a little bit busier, but some have cleared at this point. Broad River Road at St. Andrews Road, also up in the Chapin area. Three Dog Road at Dutch Fork Road. South Lake Drive at I-20, an accident, and still working that vehicle fire, Monticello Road near Columbia College Drive. It's going to be a pretty nice forecast for really next several days. Mix of clouds and sun today and tomorrow, 86 for the high today, 88 tomorrow, 90 on Friday, and holding steady this morning, getting about 62 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 3 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And before we get into the topic at hand, there were a couple of texts of people getting on the line.
Y'all are bringing it today.
That I have to get to. We'll start with Chris, right? On our Firehouse Subs text line. This says Xavier Leggett. He says catching 8 balls for negative yards. He only caught 1 ball, but had 8 targets. He did have 8 targets in the game and resulted in negative yards, -2 to be exact. And then one play he couldn't even get lined up on in time, get on the line.
Yeah, man. My algorithm right now has Xavier Legette in a chokehold, and Panthers fans are not excited. The shtick might have worn off.
Unfortunately, that's my guy.
Well, if you're going to have that shtick, you got to be able to deliver on the other side. So
Yep.
either that or you're going to have to lean into that shtick for a new job.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, Panthers fans not excited about that right now.
They're not. No, I'm really hoping he turns it around. And he can. That's the thing, is he can. We've seen what he can do here.
Yeah.
We've seen his athletic ability. But so far, not so good for the Carolina Panthers. I'm not going to lie. I gave up on them when it was 27-3, and I turned my full attention to Eagles-Chiefs, which ended up being an okay game. It was good, right? But I didn't realize it was like 27-22 or 27-23 until I saw the final score. And I was like, wait a minute. It actually ended up becoming, competitive. But 2 losses on the road to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Arizona Cardinals. Not off to a great start.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday Night Football tomorrow night will feature the Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills. And one nameless texter says, Tua, turn the ball over. Get on the line.
I love that one. I had never heard that one before. That's a great one.
Tua, turn the ball over. They've been turning it over a lot. They have not played very well. Losses to the Colts and the Patriots. Friendly reminder, Tom Brady is not quarterbacking the Patriots. Peyton Manning is not quarterbacking the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and make a preview for our show tomorrow. Mike McDaniel will be cooked. He will be showing up on the grill tomorrow.
Yes.
So we can go ahead and save the surprise.
Yes, a little spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Mike McDaniel will be on the grill.
When we talked about who is on the grill tomorrow. Yeah, Mike McDaniel, buddy, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for him at all. The Miami Dolphins team is an absolute disaster 2 weeks into the season. But pivoting back to the South Carolina Gamecocks, I think we can all agree that the Vanderbilt loss, knowing how important that game was, knowing what was on the line, and also, more importantly, what lies ahead in terms of difficulty, that loss, we would say, is one of the more gut-wrenching, painful losses of the Shane Beamer era.
Yes.
So how do they respond? We're getting to the point now, Vanderbilt behind us, Missouri ahead of us. The rest of the season ahead of us. 75% of your season, to be exact, ahead of us. So how have Shane's teams responded after some of their more difficult losses? So I decided to go back and look and count in some precedent here. And let's start. I don't think there are any, what I would say, bad losses. 2021 was supposed to be kind of a year zero for him. The fact they went 6-6 is one of the better coaching jobs in America that year. So we'll go to 2022 for this first one. The loss at Florida, where it was not a very good Florida team. Yes, you were on the road, but you got beat 38-6.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wire-to-wire beatdown.
Correct.
In the Swamp. It looked pretty bleak after that game. They followed that loss up with wins over number 5 Tennessee that featured Spencer Rattler's magnum opus as a quarterback, and a win at number 7 Clemson. And then that gets you to the Gator Bowl. We feel a lot differently about the 2022 season after that, to the point where we almost don't think about that Florida loss.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing performance. That was, and there's been a few, as there is in any tenure of a coach, but that one was one. I told her I went out and bought a washer and dryer in the fourth quarter of that game. I was so disheartened.
God, you didn't just go out for like milk or
I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this now. It was so bad. I was that disappointed.
That you could not hang around for the last little bit of that game.
It was that poor, but you see how they responded.
I mean, I don't want to put myself through having to buy another washer and dryer. I couldn't imagine, the type of disappointment that
I was already in that space.
Yep.
Where I was like, I feel bad already. Let's just go ahead and let's just do it all.
Glutton for punishment. Preston Thorne. 2023, the Florida game at home, where you had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I think about 6 minutes left to be exact. And Florida wins 41-39. That is the Graham Mertz and Ricky Pearsall game, as I call it, because Graham Mertz threw for over 400, and Ricky Pearsall maybe had his best day as a Florida Gator in that game. That game was followed up with a blowout loss at Missouri and then a 13-point loss at Texas A&M. then turned around to win 3 straight before losing to Clemson to finish the 2023 season 5-7. So we have some mixed results here on how they have responded. 2024, now this was a win. Spiritually, though, I was here and hosting shows whenever this game happened, so I know how the reaction was. A 23-19 win over Old Dominion. Didn't look very good.
It felt worse.
It felt worse, right? The only thing that would have made it feel worse is if you actually lost the football game.
Which,
right?
by the way, was on the menu.
Old Dominion had the ball and driving. Maybe not driving, but they had a chance to take the lead late in the fourth quarter. Jalen Kilgore picks off a pass. Crisis averted. They followed that up with a 31-6 beatdown, belt-to-tail performance beatdown at Kentucky. And then 2024, you also had a real loss that was bad. Ole Miss, 27-3. We remember the fake punt. We remember everything that ensued.
Laid an egg. It's a very similar build up to that game. I don't know if Game Day was here, but there was a lot of national presence for that game.
Game Day was here for LSU. Lost that close game, but you showed you're for real.
But for that Ole Miss game, it was a primetime game. People were paying attention to us, and we laid an egg early, and the momentum got sucked out of the stadium, and we never quite recovered.
Yeah, never quite recovered, and it ended up being a 24-point loss. Followed that up with a loss to Alabama, but I think a lot of people, myself included, I'm including myself in this, look back at that Alabama game and how you played late in that first half and in the second half to get within striking range of beating that Alabama team on the road, I think was the turning point in the season. I think that was when the light clicked on for Carolina's offense specifically to say, hey, if we can score on these guys, we can score against anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then we know what happened the rest of the season. They won 6 straight games to end the season, and it was a really special year to end 2024. So given all of that information, how do we feel about the program's ability to bounce back after loss? Because there is a lot of good in there. I think if you're looking for silver linings and looking for hope or a reason for optimism, it's that there is a history of being able to bounce back despite some negative performances.
I think as a fan, you can have fair criticisms of the offense. You can have fair criticisms of the coaching staff, and I think those are all good. But if you do that criticism, I think you also have to acknowledge that over his time, over the Shane Beamer era, his teams have proven to be resilient. His teams have always showed up to play, and his teams have proven that they get better over time. And so we're getting into all three. Unfortunately, we get into all three of those things. So I think Shane specifically should get the benefit of the doubt here as far as preparing his team to play this game.
Yeah. And really, the one time where you look at those losses and you say, oh, I don't love how you followed that up. You could say the 2023 Florida loss, where then the next week was playing at Missouri, and you could not get yourself into the end zone. Mm-hmm. It was a 34-12 game. Unfortunately for you, after your disappointing loss to Vanderbilt, you have to go back to Como, and that is against a team and a coach who have been really tough for you to beat over the years. Even when things felt even, they felt tough to beat. I expected them. I felt really good about them last year going into the Missouri game, that they were going to beat Missouri, and Luther Burden almost ruined the party for everybody by scoring that touchdown late in the game. And then Lenore Sellers put the cape on. Delvon Campbell put a cape on, and they marched down the field. Then Rocket Sanders said, hey, Delvon, can I borrow that cape? Okay, cool. Then he puts the cape on. He launches himself into the end zone. South Carolina wins the game for one of the 2 most exciting wins of the season last year. But Missouri, been a really tough opponent for Shane Beamer and his program. That's going to be where you're going to have to exercise some demons there, is having to go to Mizzou after an incredibly tough loss. And that's where a big challenge lies.
So it is a lot about the coach that they're going against and the program that they're going against. And we wanted to get to this clip earlier, but to combine Eli with a lot of the complaints about the offense, and we all recognize that as much as I call him a dork, as much as I wanted to throw him in the drink last year, I have to admit that he is one of the elite offensive minds in football, right?
Certainly, yes.
So here's him giving his assessment of our offense and Mike Shula.
Yeah, obviously Coach Shula was there with him last year as an offensive analyst, and him and Coach Loggins, co-created the plans each week, and so there's a lot of carryover. Each play caller has their own flavor of how they call games and what specifically they're doing to implement the game plan. There is some subtle differences in the run scheme. There's more quarterback-driven run, +1 runs, I would say, than there was probably last year. I think there's more drop-back concepts. And maybe that's just year 2 of growth with Lenorse and something that he's more comfortable with. But, you know, finding explosive, being creative, utilizing empty, that's stuff that they did last year and did effectively versus us.
So you mentioned what he thinks they do well this year and what they did well last year against them specifically. But one thing you mentioned too, he said more quarterback runs.
He did. I'm sorry. As soon as he said it, I had my mind swung with. He said each offensive play caller has a different flavor.
Interesting.
What flavor is Mike Shula's play calling?
He has gotten the vanilla accusations online.
I couldn't pass that up. I couldn't pass it up. It was right there. I could not pass it up. He did mention. I never heard this phrase again, and again he said it's +1 run. So what does it mean if you're +1 run? That means that the quarterback is now running the ball, and instead of having a running back take the ball, you now have an extra blocker. And that again, that makes sense in an offensive scheme. If your offensive line is struggling and you have a quarterback that can run the ball, why wouldn't you want to +1 run it? Let your running back take care of one of these other blockers and give your offense more blockers and also the better ball carrier. So, again, this is me on my campaign for run the ball with Lenorse or Luke.
Or Luke. Some +1 runs with Luke.
I want more +1 runs. Now I sound smart when I say it. More +1 runs, please. That's what I want on my menu.
Going to start adding that to the vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
More +1 runs. That's something also you used to see in the Big Ten a lot. I think that's one thing that, any time, and Illinois didn't run Luke Altmaier a ton, but even with their running backs, I don't know if you still considered a +1 run if it's the running back, but they would load up the offensive line a lot of times out of 12 or 13 personnel and load it up on one side and just say, hey, we're going to have more guys in the line than you will. Try and stop us. Yeah, I think that's one thing that a team like Illinois or a lot of Big Ten teams have done historically.
Yeah, I mean, that's the old Wildcat. That's what the Wildcat was. Remember Archie when they used to run traumatized us.
The Wild Hog.
Yeah, when they ran the Wild Hog, you just put the running back. You put one guy back there, get an extra guy to block, and now he takes us now. Or the old single wing, as the old school footballers used to call it. I don't care. I want more +1 runs.
More +1 runs. I mean, I think that's something that can help Luke out a lot too, in terms of getting him in a rhythm. He's an athlete. Again, dual threat guy coming out of high school. A guy you felt comfortable enough with to athletically to put at wide receiver could be something that helps the offense going on down the line. We'll go take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get some of your thoughts. Lee, hang on. We'll get to your thoughts on some of the optimism that you might have given some of the track record of South Carolina over the last few years after some disappointing losses. All of that and a whole lot more next on the Early Game. For nearly 30 years, that's a long time. That is my lifetime, exactly. Midstate Roofing has been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. For 30 years, they've been doing the same thing, and that's providing proper advice, service, and most importantly, the results to the needs of your facility. And they do it in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. The best part about Midstate Roofing is it doesn't matter if it's high-rise to hospitals or the job is manufacturing to industrial. They design and install those bonded systems that give you a protective guarantee to keep the operation dry and running long into the future. And double protection here. You can protect that roof, protect the protector of your building with a maintenance contract. So go ahead, give them a call today, 803-356-1919. You can even call after hours. Midstate Roofing has an on-call technician that can address the more urgent needs, 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com.
Broad River Road at St. Andrews Road, working an earlier accident there. Also in the Chapin area. Three Dog Road near Dutch Fork Road. South Lake Drive at I-20. Also have a report of a tie-up. Park Lane Road between Parkview and Springcrest Drive. Monticello Road near Columbia College Drive. Vehicle fire tending to that. Garner's Ferry near I-77. And traffic lights currently malfunctioning. Hardin Street at Divine. So that will clog things up a smidge. Again, that's Hardin at Divine. Traffic lights malfunctioning. Clouds and sun today. 86 will be our high. The same for tomorrow. 88 for the high. 62 right now.
(803-404-6100). That's the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. We're going to go out to Seth right now. Seth, good morning. Welcome to the early game. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, appreciate y'all, fellas. I hope you're doing well. I'm calling to share my optimism this morning, and
love it.
I'm really going to lean into Preston on this because there's this story that I know, because I'm a teacher, right? There's this story that I know that I read to my kids at school, and I read to my son at home, and it's called Just a Chicken, okay? And I'm a little tired of hearing Gamecock fans get this apathy rooted down deep. Oh, it's the Gamecock way. We're up 1 year, we're down the next. Nah, that ain't how it's going down, okay? We got a team loaded with talent. And just like hockey, right? You might look around and you're like, oh, LSU's defense is up. Oh, Missouri's playing ball like we want to play ball. Oh, Bama, they made some mistakes, but they're coming back. Yada, yada, yada. None of that. None of that. Hockey went and talked to his brothers in the coop, and he realized I'm not just a chicken. I'm a Gamecock. And Gamecocks will fight to the end. We fight all the way to the end, so there's no fight left. Preston, am I right?
Man, listen, you got me pumped up. We should have saved this call for Friday.
Hey,
it's the one we needed.
Hey, I'm safe. I'm coming now, man. I'm coming now. Listen, we had Sunday. We had Sunday to feel that depression, and we got beat, y'all. It's sports. We got beat. So what? Now what? Mike, we've got talent across the board on offense. And, yeah, play calling here and there. Our first drive, we're sustaining stuff. Hey, we came out second drive, almost about to get in the end zone, didn't go our way. Lenoris goes down. This game might be a blessing in disguise, y'all. We got talent on this team. We showed last year we can rally. We just got to put the ball in our playmakers' hands, get them confident, and we start building on that momentum. And the fans, we got the best fans in the nation. We show up when we are winning. We show up when we're not winning. We get loud, and we're allowed to have frustration and have those moments. That's why that Monday, that reaction Monday, I love that. But it's Wednesday, y'all.
That's right.
And we're getting closer, and we're getting closer. I'm ready to see what we're going to do because I'm fired up about it. I'll leave it to y'all, but I appreciate y'all taking the call and let me get you fired up. And, hey, Just a Chicken, if you don't have it on your bookshelf, you need to get it.
Oh, man, my man, with a plug at the end, too. I appreciate that's an A-plus call. Seth, you will be a winner today, and your students, I'm sure, are very lucky to have you in their classrooms. Excellent call.
That's fantastic. I love the optimism. Here's the thing about this Missouri game, and it's why I'm excited for the Missouri game, is this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to show that you are not going to lay down after a disappointing game, because the obvious thing that everybody's going to point out is that October is going to be brutal with your schedule. Going at LSU, not an easy task. Hosting Oklahoma and Alabama, not an easy task. Having to then travel to Ole Miss and Texas A&M, not an easy task. All those teams I just alluded to, even Alabama, who had a terrible week one, has only, beaten the brakes off of their next two opponents. One of them just so happens to be in the Big Ten. Some might argue Louisiana Monroe might be more of a challenge than Wisconsin at this point in time. but it's not going to be an easy task. This is the opportunity to show what you are made of, to show that this would be a program win. If you're to beat Missouri, especially if Lenore Sellers can't play, this is a program win to show that you can bounce back after losses, that you may get them one game, but you got to fight them off week after week. That is the opportunity that lies ahead for them. They're 13.5-point underdogs. They will not be picked to win this game by anyone. This is an opportunity to show that the previous years that I alluded to, like 2022, responding from the Florida loss, 2024, responding from the Ole Miss loss, is more of a mirror and a reflection as to what your program is, as opposed to being a mirage.
And I love the idea of this. Okay, we don't know what Lenore's status is. We'll see when the injury update. It might have just came out. I think it comes out either
Wednesday night.
Okay, so it's PM. Okay, so we'll see when that comes out. That being said, now we're not going to be surprised if Lenore's is not playing. Yes, it was a shock. It is traumatic when your best player gets hurt for any team.
I've seen Friday Night Lights.
Exactly. But now we know. So what now what, like Seth said. Now we get it. Now we know. Now we can form a game plan that's around our playmakers and that they can make plays. Hey, if you say you're a playmaker, you've been around, maybe you're a wide receiver, you've been kind of sulking around because you haven't gotten the ball, guess what? This might be your chance. Sometimes teams rise up when the best player is not around because everybody has to contribute more, and we're not just looking around waiting for 16 to make a play. Now everybody has to make a play. That is a distinct possibility of things that can happen. Now, in order for that to happen, the team has to develop, the coaches have to have a game plan that emphasizes that and stresses that, but it is on the table as far as things that can happen.
You have to be extra prepared. You have to be extra ready. You have to be extra performative. Who's your Chris Comer? Because if your Boobie Miles goes down, what did Chris Comer do once he realized where his helmet was and got to be able to get on the field? He ran all over the place. Became an all-state running back for the Permian Panthers. Who is your Chris Comer?
Who's going to step up?
Someone's going to have to do it. Is it Luke Doty? Is it Mazeo Bennett? Does Rasul Faison get 20 carries and end up dictating the terms and conditions of this football game on the ground? There is plenty of opportunity. Is it Nick Harbor who finds a way to beat zone defenses like he did in the first half of the Vanderbilt game, but doing it through 4 quarters? Does he get the ball on end arounds and make plays happen? Does Mike Shula say, okay, we're just going to do whatever we can to get number 8 the ball and let 8 be Superman in this game and utilize his athletic ability? Somebody's got to be the Chris Comer to be able to win this game. Who is the one who does it?
I'm going to come back to this, but do you take a page out of Vandy's playbook? Shorten the game, lengthen your possessions, eat the clock, keep Eli and his offense off the field. There are ways that you go about winning this game, and like Seth said, yes, you had your time to sulk, and that's fine because you probably deserve it.
It needed to hurt.
You got to lick your wounds a little bit. You got to sit there and you got to take that. But now, what's the next thing that's coming from it? We have to see if everybody is on board with adjusting the game plan to what strengths they have instead of worrying about what they presumably won't have.
Absolutely. That game needed to hurt, right? You needed to feel what that felt like so you can avoid having that happen. Again, you cannot become numb to that. Going back to your point of shortening the game, it's one of my favorite philosophies in sports is when you're a heavy underdog, whether it be on the road or anything, like that's why come NCAA tournament basketball time, the teams that are most likely to pull off upsets are the ones who choke the clock out. They limit the possessions. They play, instead of 80 possessions in a game, they'll play in the 50s because they take the other team's margin for error away. And when you make them have to play a more perfect game and they make a couple of mistakes, those couple of mistakes are amplified. If you are without Lenore Sellers in this game, I think it would be a fantastic game plan to go in there and say, we are going to limit possessions, we're going to choke the clock out, and we are going to make you be perfect to have to beat us the way you want to beat us. And I don't see why they wouldn't do that, especially on the road. That's a great way to do it on the road.
Absolutely.
Right? Fans can only scream on third down for so long. That play clock is what? 35 seconds long? You only have so much lung capacity. It's a sold-out crowd. Maybe they run out of gas too. making them run out of gas is a good way to go about it. We have more calls, and we also want to get to the Dabo Sweeney crash out yesterday. All of that and a whole lot more when the early game continues.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Had to do all that demolition in the kitchen. Really gave us a chance to experience what CHW Cabinetry is all about. They helped us pull together what the kitchen would look like and got everything ordered. Got the photorealistic rendering that showed us what the kitchen would be once it was finished, and we could use that to help us pick out everything else. So when the cabinets came in, everything else was ready to go. And we were so thrilled with every experience with them that when it came time to updating a couple of bathrooms, we said, well, we know where to go because CHW Cabinetry took great care of us, and they did again in those bathrooms. I'm encouraging you that if you have any updates you want to do in your home, maybe in your pantry, in a closet, reach out to CHW Cabinetry. Visit them online at chwcabinetry.com or call them at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. Few accidents to make you aware of or remind you of: Broad River Road at St. Andrews Road. Also Pisgah Church Road at Barr. Park Lane between Parkview and Springcrest Drive. I-77, and if you're traveling southbound, there is an accident at exit 2. Hardin Street at Divine Street. The traffic lights are currently malfunctioning, so allow some extra time to get through there. Again, that's Hardin at Divine. Traffic lights malfunctioning. Garner's Ferry Road near I-77 and Bluff Road near Berea Road. Also a report of a slowdown. As we've mentioned, we're going to stay in the upper 80s today and tomorrow, 90 on Friday. Right now, a little bit overcast and 62.
Time to go back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Rod is on the line with us. Good morning, Rod. Welcome back to the early game, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. Hey, I'm calling to get a rebuttal to the last call. You know how the Republicans and the Democrats go back and forth with a rebuttal. I got one for him. Listen, did he not watch that 31-7 ball game that we saw Saturday? What? The only score that we got was from the guy that got hurt. The backup quarterback that came in, what did he do? He didn't do anything. Has he done anything since he's been? I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying? I don't want everybody to think I'm coming down on this on Luke. No, I'm not. But what has he done since he's been here at quarterback? Has he won a ball game, a big-time ball game for us? I can't recall. No, man. No, I'm not getting my hopes up for that. I think it's going to be bad, honestly. I really do. I think you got that guy on the sideline, the coach for Mizzou, coach on the sideline. He's still in his little feelings because he didn't get the job at Carolina. And watch this. He remembers what happened to their team last year in the closing minutes of that game last year and what we did to them. No, I don't think so. Listen. No, we ain't got a chance. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not getting my hopes up. If it happens, if we win the ball game, I'm happy. But I'm not expecting that. No, that's my rebuttal. No, sir. Thank y'all for taking my call.
We appreciate respectful, responsible rebuttals. We welcome all opinions on this show. And Rod, if it happens, we will be expecting your call on Monday. Matter of fact, we will respect your call regardless yes. On Monday. On Reaction Monday, we will be waiting to hear from you, Rod. But great call.
So we have two polar opposite ends of the spectrum between Seth and Rod. I think what Seth is saying
all under the same tent. We're all still Gamecock fans. We're all Gamecock fans, but we have some different perspectives.
That's right. It's And to quote the Iron Giant again, you are who you choose to be. And Rod is saying, I am choosing to not be excited for this football game.
Well, to make a segue into that, how do you think our boy would respond to Rod? I think our boy would have responded to Rod like this, maybe.
I think, Dabo would respond like he did Tyler from Spartanburg. He would sound exactly like this cut right here.
If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on their way, because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking, is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, to be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory, in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last, always has been, always will be. And I would just say, if you give up on us if you don't believe in us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and you didn't believe in us anyway, so it don't matter. You wasn't all in anyway. If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, you're freaking all in. And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm gonna go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all gonna have to deal with me for a while. I got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach.
Did you see Smokey and the Bandit? Where Buford T. Justice looks at his son and he said, boy, when we get home, I'm going to punch your mama in the mouth. I get the urge to punch this boy in the mouth, and I'm not a violent person, but it's like nails on a chalkboard, this man. Oh.
You know what that sounds like?
Okay, thank you.
That sounds like somebody who feels like he has more job security than anybody in any profession in the United States of America. Because you don't say, I'm not going anywhere. If you guys want me gone, I'll go anywhere else. If you don't feel like you have unfireable
Here's the viral Dabo challenge. Walk into your job and tell them, hey, man, you can take it or leave it if you want to or not.
No, I'm getting tired of winning.
8 out of 10. I mean, but here's my rebuttal. If you spitting facts, it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's still, again, Davo's looking at that schedule saying, I got 9 games left. I can backdoor my way into this playoff like I did last year.
He can be back.
I will backdoor my way into it. I will backflip into it. I will army crawl myself into it.
I want to put this on the note. Reckless speculation early, but I want to make sure I'm here first if it happens. You heard it the last part. He said, if they don't want me here, I'll go coach somewhere else. And I want to proposition this. If Clemson does not make the CFP and Bama doesn't make the CFP, watch out.
Oh, interesting.
I'll put it right there.
Putting tabs in that bookmark that one right now.
If both teams fail to make the playoff this year.
You're saying Dabo Swinney, the Alabama Crimson Tide, collision course.
He said, I'll go coach somewhere else. That's the first time I've heard him say that specifically.
You're taking him at his word. That he's not afraid to go coach somewhere else.
Yeah, but then he'd be in our league.
Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly.
Well, then the you guys have to deal with me, much longer. Would be more directed to South Carolina than the reporters in the room, right? That's where that'd be directed.
All I'm saying, I just pay attention.
We'll clip that little nugget for you.
I just want to be here first.
I find that clip to be so funny because I just don't know if there's anybody in any other job in America that can walk into their office and to their boss and say, "You want me to go work somewhere else? I'll do it." Here's everything I've done.
Yeah. Also, you ungrateful little ones. Don't you know I brought you to the promised land? Me? Where are you gonna be without me?
And that's the arrogance is what just is infuriating. Yes, he has done fabulous. I mean, and his teams have done beautifully. They've won, no question. But don't just be a pompous person.
Where else are you going to find somebody who's going to keep 2 timeouts in his pocket while the other team's fire drill kicking a field goal? Nobody else. Deion Sanders might have done it earlier in the season to not use his timeouts. You going to get him? Who else is going to do that?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was like, can you do better than me? I don't think so. You need to be grateful that I'm here.
I don't know if I've ever heard a coaching press conference heat check after losing a game like that than that guy, because I don't think there's another place in America where you can get away with that.
Okay, Tyler.
Yeah, and that's what we was trying to figure out. Did he just run this thing once a year? He's like, okay, it's time for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the question that we put in the grid here, does he make a point or is he recycling the bit? And I think we might have a little bit of both. There is some bit recycling going on through here.
I'll say this, as we stated, Syracuse versus Clemson this weekend has the potential to have some amazing quotes.
Guaranteed.
Fran Brown versus Dabo. Something amazing will come from the post-game conference out of this game. I don't know what it will be, but it will be fascinating.
Twice a day on this program, I tell you that Midstate Roofing has that protective guarantee for your roof. We have a protective guarantee that we are getting a grade A soundbite from this game from either of these coaches, regardless of result.
Yeah, this is going to be entertaining.
And if Fran Brown doesn't shower after losses, his wife is begging for an upset.
And here's the thing, I don't know what I'm rooting for more. I don't know what's going to be best. Would it be best if Clemson loses and we get another more mad Dabo?
Ooh.
Does Fran Brown give us a great quote after the win? I don't know, man.
Or if they lose, I think maybe the best thing that can happen is a controversial loss.
I like that idea.
we get some controversy in this,
Mm-hmm.
where it comes down to one or two things.
Wouldn't it be nice if, like, we had an issue with the refs? Because it seems like we have plenty of that. Like, could we have something
That could
where
be something that
the
could
ball
happen.
doesn't bounce their way for once?
That could be something that can happen.
Especially a controversial replay review, because now the ACC on their broadcast, you get to listen in on the
Oh, that's
the
right.
replay review,
Yeah.
which really cool. Really, really cool. Every college football broadcast should incorporate that. That is the utmost transparent thing that you could do. But for it to be controversial and listening in on it, and then coaches can listen in on that and say, no, and then argue with it, it'd be gold. Content gold.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson's tired of winning. I'll just go somewhere else. I have to tell my daughter that. Listen, you tired of eating? I'll just go
I'll
somewhere
go
else.
somewhere else.
You want to cry because you didn't get McDonald's yesterday? I'll go somewhere else.
I'm sure that would go over very well. A winning strategy. I'm sure everyone in the Thorne household would appreciate that. We'll give you our winners for today's show next. But a winner for me every day, our friends over the Ecton Law Firm, because they help you win if tax issues are something that are stressing you out or weighing you down. And the whole process starts with a free consultation. You can set that consultation up at 803-771-9800 and find out how the Ecton Law Firm can help you with your specific tax issues. Doesn't matter if they're income tax issues or if it's business tax issues. John Ecton and his team fully understand those challenges, and they are perfectly equipped to offer you one of the most important things in life, and that is peace of mind. So if you're having trouble escaping the IRS maze, that has been a problem for millions of Americans, call the Ecton Law Firm, 803-771-9800, and you can always hit them up on the World Wide Web at ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com.
Preston here for our friends at Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been serving the Midlands since 1983. That's over 40 years. And third-generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. And Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, they are proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, and find financing options. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned landscaping pro, Cato's has got you covered. We got a huge selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and all the gear you need to tackle any outdoor project. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's Cato's Power Equipment at 803-254-3711.
Winners. Winners.
So do we, Coach. Winners. We want winners, and it's time for us to give you our winners of today's show. And I would be remiss if I didn't include Seth, who called in and not only cited Just a Chicken, but gave you every bit of fodder you need if you want some optimism going into the South Carolina-Missouri game.
I'm gonna one up you here. I'm gonna Tommy top you here. Here we go. I'm gonna give it to the callers and participators in the show today. Y'all were awesome. You were informed, you were factual, you were opinionated, and you were short and concise, which is most importantly when we're doing a radio show where we don't have a lot of time. Winners, listeners of the show today, great job.
To echo that, Hot Sauce Ross texts in, says, haven't been able to bring myself to listen this week until just now. Now Seth's got me back into it. One nameless texter says, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. Got us ready.
One of the texters said that Tua turned the ball over. What a great job.
A+.
You, sir. You understand the show. I want to take my winners outside of football. We're football, college football heavy here. But I just want to make sure we understand that I saw, because I didn't watch, Shohei Ohtani pitched 5 no-hitter innings last night while also hitting his 50th home run.
Unbelievable.
Do we not hear what I just said?
Unbelievable.
What? Are we just so used to somebody being that great that we're like, oh, yeah, whatever?
We're numb to it.
That is wild. It's wild.
I want to say the only players who have back-to-back 50 home run seasons. Babe Ruth is on that list. Alex Rodriguez did it in 01 and 02. And Mark McGwire did it. And I don't remember if I saw Sammy Sosa on that list or not. But Barry Bonds has not done what Shohei Ohtani has done. And Barry Bonds sure as hell didn't pitch 5 no-hit innings whenever he did get his 50th home run in a season.
In the same game.
That's one thing none of those fellas who are confirmed to be on that list having back-to-back 50 home run seasons have done. Shohei Ohtani, you're a winner.
Yeah, 3 of those fellas also confirmed to be on several other lists also.
Yeah, like the Mitchell Report. Yeah. A list that you do not want to be on. That puts you in a little more public shame.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani did it without being on the Mitchell Report. First post-Mitchell Report player to hit 50 home runs in consecutive seasons.
Interesting. Got any other winners?
Oh, I've got so many.
What you got?
I want to reiterate the Tua turned the ball over text. Absolutely hilarious. Like that one all time. But you know what? I didn't expect to have Graham Mertz mentioned on this show. But Graham Mertz, also going back to that 2023 season, yes, it was 5-7 for the Gamecocks. But if you like passing explosion games, you had 2 right there. Because Spencer Rattler dueled with Graham Mertz and Will Rogers that year. And that first game in the SEC, their SEC opener that year, where they beat Mississippi State, those quarterbacks combined to throw for 775 yards. I think to this day, that might be the most fun, I would say, most mindless, reckless fun I've ever had.
You gave his and this might have been off air. You gave his numbers for that game, and it was something I don't want to misquote it, but
oh, buddy,
what were Spencer Rattler's numbers for that game?
So his numbers in the SEC opener, not the season opener, the SEC opener. That was home SEC opener. My apologies, I forgot. Georgia was before that. But first SEC win that year against Mississippi State. He completed 18 of his 20 passes for 288 yards and 3 touchdowns.
18 of 20. That's wild. Also, Spencer Rattler, if you haven't been paying attention, is playing very well.
Yes.
He's 0-8 as a starter, but he's balling, which is weird.
Quote Amin El Hassan doing his Doc Rivers impersonation when talking about the Clippers' failures. Instead of going, it's all Blake's fault, I'm sitting here watching the Saints play. It's not Spencer's fault.
They might have found their guy.
I think they did.
They might have found their guy.
He's 9th in the NFL in QBR.
He's playing really well.
He's actually playing really well. I'm
Spencer
so
Rattler.
excited
I love
for
that.
him.
Spencer Rattler, winner.
Oh, I just wish the rest of that team didn't stink. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri. That's next.
Press here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a